Hey guys, how are you? I'm good today. I'm actually starting a new video series today. It's how to raise your kids is going to be the name of the series, or how I'm going to raise my kids. I'm sorry. It's not how everyone should necessarily raise their kids, but it is going to be about how I feel that I want my kids raised, particularly my kids. Today's episode is on how I want my kids to be more political. And the reasoning being, and what I mean by that is I'm going to raise my kids, like, probably starting maybe middle school, maybe freshman year in high school, but I'm hoping, like, middle school. It just really depends. And these are all imaginary kids. I'm not pregnant. I don't have any kids, anything like that. I'm 21, and I'm going to wait. I really am. Like, if stuff happens and I have one, I'm going to have one. But unless, something happens and I, have sex unprotected and screw up or something, I am going to raise my kids. I'm going to have kids, maybe 28. That's probably my goal. But I wanted to talk about how I wanted to raise them, because I know recently I've been thinking about how, I was raised and how I think I was raised pretty well. I mean, I want to believe that, right? I believe my parents were good at what they did. But there are things that I wish that as a child, maybe my parents did, would have done, that they didn't, which isn't necessarily, a bad thing on them, but I feel like it would have helped me as an adult to get to where I am. And one of the big things that I wish they did is force me to be into politics. And I know that's, it's not it's supposed to be a shush thing. You don't talk about politics. But I feel it's very important, because I feel everybody needs to be extremely informed about politics, because it's what's happening in our country. It's what's going on a day-to-day basis in Washington, in your state, wherever you are. It's a constantly ongoing thing. And if you don't pay attention, then if you don't pay attention because you don't agree with the politics, you are part of the problem. Because if you want to fix the problem, you gotta help fix it. You gotta be out there trying to fix it. It's all of our lives. It's not I'm not a very political person, my family's not big into politics, it doesn't affect me, or that's something going on in a different state, it doesn't affect me. Everything in politics affects us. It affects our day-to-day lives, because maybe a law is getting passed in another state that, other states might be that your state might be ooh, I like that law, let's bring it over here. And it may not be a law you're okay with. And, it would be one thing if it's, just one person out of, a million. But it's not. It's hundreds of people, hundreds of thousands of people who think that it doesn't really matter. And so if more people went out to vote like they're supposed to be, then things would be radically different. If you want to change something, you got to go and change it. And we talked at politics every once in a while at dinner. My aunt, she worked for the Republican National Committee when she was, in her 20s and such. So I really, she always liked to talk about politics, and I always liked to listen to her talk. Like I said, my mom and dad talked every once in a while. Usually they talked when they were over at my aunt's house. But my family wasn't extremely political, but they weren't unpolitical either. Apparently, according to my dad's side was a little bit more hush-hush about politics. They didn't really like talking about it at the dinner table or talking about it in general. They understood that some of them were liberal and some of them were Republican, but that was about the extent of the conversation. But, so I want to go ahead and I want to teach my kids to not only go out and vote, but to be informed when they go and vote. So, starting in middle school, I'm going to do basically what civics studies do, where I want my kids to go out and research. I'm going to make them pick a topic, and they're going to every week, probably once a week, I'm going to go out and make them research that, or maybe once a month, something, whatever. But I'll go out and make them research the topic do like extensive research, pick a side, pick a view, and then at the dinner table, like maybe on like Saturday or something, once a week, or one Saturday the first Saturday every month or something, come and discuss the topic and why they feel their topic or why they feel their views on it are correct. And then me and my husband or whoever would sit there and play devil's advocate. And it may not necessarily be that we are opposed to their view, but it may be a view we don't even agree with that we are arguing for, but just so that they have the other side, and now they have to argue against the other side and figure out why their side's more logical. And if we stump them with our, devil advocate, whatever, they have like a week or whatever to go and figure out how they want to figure out why their view is right, research information on why their view is right, or research information on why they now agree with the other side. But either way, even if I give a valid argument as to why they're wrong, I don't want them to just assume that what I have said is now right. I want them to go out and be like, let me prove this is wrong. Let me try to figure out why this is wrong, so that, just because they hear something good on TV or like someone says something nice and you're like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense, and now I agree with it, even though if you really look at it, if you do the research, it doesn't make sense in the long run, or just in reality, but it's like a nice idea on paper. I want them to be able to go out and not just automatically assume whatever they hear is correct. And I mean, I feel like everyone I know is like a victim of that. I know I've done that before, where I'll be like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. And then I'll go and I'll look at it and I'll be like, well, now I feel dumb because I was so for it. And then I did the research and now I'm not. But I want my kids, by the time they hit 18 and are at voting age, they're voting, not only they're like straight up voting, they go out every election and vote for someone at the age of 22 when most kids don't even care. And B, I want them to know what they're voting for. I want them to, when they vote for the person, not voting because that person's a party voting for their party, or because they tout something that sounds really nice on paper. Like, I know not everybody's going to agree with me, but I have said it before, I am not for free college. And so like Bernie Sanders and him touting free college, a lot of people have gotten behind him, but haven't really thought about it beyond the fact that, ooh, free college would be nice. Not having to pay for college debts for the next 10 years sounds like a great idea. And again, if I've said it on my other series, I will be making a video on why I'm against free college and why I prefer how I think it should be fixed. But that's another video. But like I said, I want my kids, when they hear something, when they agree with someone, to know why they agree with someone completely. And if they disagree with them, know why. You know what I mean? Not just be like, ooh, the media says this person's like great and they're the perfect candidate, or, ooh, the media hates this person, I should hate this person too. I want them to know why they hate him outside of the realm of what the media tells them to hate, or what, society's telling them to hate as a general rule of thumb. And if they do hate them, I want them to know why they hate them at the very core of it, because I want them to hate them for their, dislike their policies, or maybe because they just aren't honest. Dislike a person, they might have great or might be speaking great policies, but, their track record might say something, or they're dishonest in their personal life, which leads you to believe, why would you be honest in your political life? So I want them to 100% know what this guy stands for, on all accounts. And not just be like, hey, I agree with this guy. He's, and so that's how I think I should raise my kids on the view of political. I know a lot of families are like, politics shouldn't really be talked about. But I feel like they are very important to talk about, because they've always been, viewed as a dangerous thing, because, they start arguments and, can tear a family apart. But then you forget that when you're not talking about politics, you're subtracting yourself from the equation, and now you're no longer able to be open to other views, or maybe you just don't care because it's something that nobody talks about. So if you don't talk about it, maybe it's not that important. And I feel like in a society where we as citizens are supposed to be making almost all, supposed to be picking everything, we need to be informed. So like I said, I'd be raising my kids like that. Let me know whether or not you'd raise your kids politically, or how you'd raise them if you did want to raise them politically, and how you'd relate to that subject. Well, have a good day, guys. Bye.